What's up guys, it's Unders here, and here with a nice quick tip for EDM, house, drum and bass, whatever you want, bass lines, just to make them a little bit more interesting with one really simple thing, and that's a little bit of automation on the oscillator. So I've just loaded up a quick example here using exactly the same bass tone on the TRK-01 from Native Instruments. And on one, I've tweaked and edited the oscillator on the bass line and nothing more. Everything else is exactly the same. And the other, I've just left it static. And it gives a massive difference. It's exactly the same notes, exactly the same bass line, but the whole feel and development across 4 bars, that's all we're going to listen to, changes the whole feel of the track. So what we'll do first, we'll have the boring bass line and then we'll swap it out for the one with a slight edit. So did you hear the massive difference there? Each hit on the other one, each time a note triggers, it feels and sounds a little bit different, while the sounds aren't actually that drastically different. Check it out. However, because it's a little change each time in the oscillator and how it triggers and how it sounds and develops, it just helps give an extra feel and like organicness, if you will, if that's a word, to the bass line. And it's just a little trick I use all the time. In the Lessons Learned album, there's Loose Brass and Just Breathe. And the bass lines in that, they change and evolve throughout the entire track. By the time it's reached the end against the start, it's actually a completely different bass line because I've detuned oscillators over time and things like that. And the reason it remains interesting is because it subtly changes and builds to something new. So we can use really basic notes, really basic notation, a really basic bass line, but just by tweaking that oscillator, you can get a whole new feel. The other thing you can do is have that as a sudden change. So if we take automation off here, if I were to duplicate this section out here, we're going to copy all of that. We'll mute these first 2. We've now got 8 bars instead, because we can have our original bass line and we can have our movement bass line, and they can just juxtapose each other. Easy as pie, right? We've now got 8 bars and there's a little bit of a different feel that changes, but the track's not so drastically changed that you can't put the parts together. Really simple way to add a little bit of interest and flair to your bass lines. That was a nice little quick tip. I hope it was helpful for you. Any questions, throw it in the comments down below. I will see you guys on the next one.